Hello and welcome to the Inside Rangers podcast with me, Sam Lavender, and my co-host, Rayan Chowdhury.
Hello everyone and welcome. We have lots coming up in today's episode. We're going to be speaking to Hayley Peacock and Melanie Hall from QPR's Women and catching up with QPR multi-activities manager Justin Stone about his role in the Community Trust.
We're also going to be talking through a matchday experience with social media manager Andy Watkins and getting to know some Rangers under 23 players a little bit better in our quiz, The Inside Knowledge.
Firstly though, we're going to be speaking to under 23s player Odie Alfa. Early last week, our reporter Ben Green sat down and spoke to Odie over Zoom, and he started out by asking him just how long he's been at the academy.
First joined QPR when I was end of under 13s. And before that, I was briefly at Luton Academy, and then I just played Sunday League up until then, like Sunday League, school, county up until then. I say my biggest challenge comes, I think, every year or so when I have to prove myself to get another deal. So I think, the pressure when you have to keep performing, and then, more is expected of you each time you're required to get a new contract. There's more competition. So I think that those are the biggest challenges I face.
Does QPR's history of youth talent give you the belief that you can become the next big story to come out of QPR?
I think all the players that have gone up, like Abire, Ilias, all the young players that are in the first team now playing as well, I think that gives us, me, a lot of confidence. And obviously, because we had the same coaches, so defo shows what they're doing is right. So it gives us hope that we can be next. It gives us that confidence to push through.
Where do you see yourself 12 months from now?
I'd like to be playing first team, as that should be anyone's goal. So hopefully 12 months from now I'll be playing, hopefully for QPR's first team or NA first team. I think that's my goal. That's where I see myself.
And what would you say is the best piece of advice you've had and that you could give to another younger player in the youth system at QPR?
I think it's to really work on your game, and individual aspects that you can pay attention to what you can really improve, because a lot of players might be, they end up, maybe they might be the best in the age group at under 14s and 15s, and maybe they get a bit lazy and not work on what they actually need to work on. And by the time they're, reaching for their first pro contract, others have overtaken them because they haven't been, on the board the last couple of years. So I think that's a very important part, to make sure you're every 6 months you look back on yourself and you've been like, yeah, I'm better than I was.
So the manager seems to be very certain on the way he encourages you to play. Does this consistency help your progress?
We do the same thing, the same things in training. We all know our plans, what's expected of us. We all know what we work on, have our individual programs. So it makes, I feel like it makes improving a lot easier, because we have set goals and set things to work on. And as a team also, we play in a certain way that we work on in training every day. So when it comes to a match day, it's not like we're doing something different to what we've trained. We're doing the same things we've worked on, week in, week out. So I think that definitely, helps a lot.
Our reporter Ben Green there, catching up with under 23 player Odie Alfa. An interesting insight that Odie offered there. It's interesting to hear that the philosophy of the way the R's play is implemented from such a young age.
It certainly is. He also gave some really good advice to any budding footballers, and it's great to see that the youth setup consistently producing top quality players. Let's hope we can see him in the first team soon, as he mentioned.
Absolutely. And turning our attention to the women's team, who unfortunately had their season halted due to COVID-19, Ben was also able to catch up with R's captain, Hayley Peacock, and forward Melanie Hall.
Hayley, if you can just give us a brief description of how you got involved with the team, maybe what was your journey before that, and sort of how you've come to become the captain of QPR Women.
Yeah, sure. So I joined the new setup last season. So QPR Women went through a bit of a change. I was with the previous version of the team, who are now called Hounslow Women. I joined them in 2016. So I've been with the club for not quite as long as some of the other players, but I've been there for quite a few years now. And yeah, I was made captain when I joined, which was a massive honour. So I absolutely loved being the captain of the team, and we've got such an amazing group of girls. So it's just fantastic to be able to be kind of there to support them whenever they need it, and to lead them out every single match.
That's great. And so, Melanie, I'll pose the same question to you. How did you get involved with QPR Women, and maybe who did you play before? Who did you play for before, and how long have you been at the club?
Well, I started playing football when I was like 6. Joined my local team when I was 9, which is Hampstead. I was there till I was like 15, so I was there 6 years. And then I joined QPR when I was 16, back when we was a development side. But I've been with Steve throughout all of that. So for the past 5 years, and yeah, I'm still here.
As you're the captain, Hayley, how would you what do you think the team morale is at the moment? I'm sure you have a group chat and a WhatsApp chat. What do you think the morale amongst the girls is at the moment?
I mean, to be honest, I think at the start we've had a really disruptive season so far. So we've only managed to play a handful of games, and I think we were starting to get into a really good rhythm. We were starting to get like a few good score lines behind us, and then we had our final game sort of mid-December. We ended up with a win against Fulham, and we felt really good after that. And since then we've not been able to train, we've not been able to play, and everyone, when you're in a team of people that are obsessed with football, it's really difficult to kind of find that positivity when you know that this lockdown is going to be going on for so long. So the team morale has been really, at that point has been really low, but we've got some good news coming, because football's going to reopen again for us at the end of this month, and then we'll be back to playing with our teammates again, and hopefully we're back playing matches soon. We're not entirely sure when we're going to be doing our competitive matches or what they're going to look like, because we're still waiting to hear from our FA about that. But yeah, it's better than it was, I think, and I think in terms of my role is trying to keep the team morale up. I think one big thing is communication. It's so easy to feel isolated when you're in lockdown, and when you're separated from people you're so used to seeing all the time. And the trouble that we have is QPR is such a big club, it attracts people from various parts of sort of greater London. So we're not all in West London. We're not all like neighbours. There's girls who come from all the way out southeast, like down Ebbsfleet. There's players that travel up from Maidstone. There's like quite a variety of different places. So yeah, it's hard to keep everyone sort of together. But with the training program, we run online sessions. So 3 times a week. So our training program's 4 times a week, but 3 of those nights I'll run like a session with the girls. So if they want to come along and have like someone to train with, they can do that. And it's really nice because you get to have a little bit of that banter, and like people will play music when we're working out, and we try and make it as fun as possible and as challenging as possible. So yeah, we're doing everything that we can, I think, to try and keep the morale up. But ultimately, I think people will feel better as soon as we're back out training again and playing.
So I mean, you've mentioned the team morale there. Maybe if I could ask you, Melanie, what struggles have you had maybe personally in terms of not playing? Has it been hard to, obviously you've not got anything to look forward to or to focus your mind, so maybe if you could just touch on those struggles you may have had personally.
Yeah, I think it's just about finding other things to do to fill the time. So me and Hayley, we've developed like a habit of playing PlayStation together, so we do that every night.
Literally every night.
We do that every night, and we try and see if anyone else wants to play with us. It's just about like wasting time until we can play football, really.
Hayley, if you could just maybe say, what is the most challenging thing about not being able to play at the moment?
Oh, that's a good question. I think like one thing you do miss when you're not playing is sort of seeing each other and having that banter, like the very eclectic mix of music in the changing room. The things that kind of you get used to, especially if you've played football like all of your life. Your Sundays are pretty special, like they're sacred days that that you're going to be seeing your teammates and playing football. So to have that kind of taken away, I find that really challenging. It's almost like Sunday comes round and I feel a bit lost, like I don't really, my whole day is dedicated to football on a Sunday, and all of a sudden it's like you just gain this extra day in the week and you don't really know what to do. You just want it to be over with so that you can be closer to playing football again. So I find that really hard. I do find that quite challenging. And also, I mean, there's nothing better really than that feeling of like stepping out on the pitch and the togetherness you have as a squad, like trying to achieve a goal, like literally metaphorically trying to achieve a goal. Yeah, that's really special. And I think it's been tough because the only place that you can really feel that is when you're playing, when you're in a match situation, when you've got that kind of pressure and that competitiveness. You can't replicate that at home, you just can't. So yeah, that's probably the most challenging thing for me.
I'll ask the same question to you, Melanie. What do you think's been the most challenging thing for yourself since being in lockdown?
Obviously missing football, missing talking to people, but I think another thing is not knowing what's going to happen next and not knowing if everything that we worked for is going to be gone. I think that's hard as well.
Hayley Peacock and Melanie Hall there, chatting to Ben again about their season being disrupted.
An interesting insight from Hayley and Melanie, and hopefully we can see them back on the pitch as soon as possible, so they can kick on and gain promotion. And it's great to hear they're keeping morale up by playing online.
It really is. As well as the women's teams being affected by COVID-19, the community trust has been affected as well. They've been unable to fulfil many of their programmes this year with all the restrictions that we've had to face. Our extremely busy reporter Ben Green was able to sit down with multi-activities manager Justin Stone as he told us a little bit about what his job entails.
Yes, so multi-activities manager. It's over the years I've managed loads of different programs for the trust. So at the moment I'm in charge of stadium tours when they retake place, so we say, when we're allowed to deliver them again. I oversee a number of different community projects for the community department. So at the moment my main priority is something called the NCS program, which is a government funded program for 16 to 17-year-olds. So I've been doing that for the last couple of years. Oversee a number of events for the trust as well, so all the end of season pitch events, and as well as all the match day events. So I am in charge of all the ball boys, mascots, all the fan zone activities, so all like the fan engagement on the normal match day. Just lots of different little programs that I've sort of managed over the last few years.
So how has, not only your job, but the trust in general been affected over the past 12 months?
Yeah, so obviously, like I think a lot of community trusts, we have some staff who aren't working at the moment, some staff who are on part-time furlough just because the work's not there. So a lot of staff are coming back. Our biggest thing is, I think we came up with Are You OK campaign during the first lockdown. So QPR fans, our elder participants could get in touch if they just needed a chat or anything. So myself and a number of my colleagues, we were talking to 3-4 different supporters a day, just checking in on them. So that's been a really successful campaign.
So as a trust, what is the biggest challenge you face going forward with restrictions slowly being loosened?
You can't plan long term. That's what we've worked out after the first lockdown. Lockdown ended, it's like, yep, fantastic, go out, eat out, to help out and all that sort of stuff. I think after that we realised that realistically you want to try and plan a couple of months at a time, because if you plan for a year's time, it's planning that it's going to go out the window. So it has been hard. I think it's been very hard for our sessional coaches as well. It's been hard for some of our full-time coaches who necessarily haven't been at the trust that long and have been put on to furlough. But again, as well as supporting the participants, the staff that are still working, we're trying our best to just make sure everyone knows what we're trying to do for when the time comes for them to come back to work. From my point of view, for some of my programs that I'm doing, I'm just planning short term. For example, stadium tours, where the main selling point is access to the changing rooms. I don't know when that will be safe to do. So I need to look at other ways to potentially to deliver a stadium tour to a QPR supporter. So it's just trying to adapt the best you can with what you can offer, which is not always easy, but we'll see how it goes. At the moment, it's very much done on a short-term basis. After the first lockdown, it was day by day. We were planning, to be honest, for some of the things that I was doing, because every day you get different information about what you can do and you can't do. Again, you plan day by day at a start. Obviously, we've got long-term plans of how we want to have everything back open and how we want to celebrate what everyone's managed to do during this last year. But you can't put all your eggs into one basket.
Justin Stone there, talking us through the struggles and forward plans of the Trust over the next few months. And a really nice incentive they offered throughout the pandemic as well, with the Are You OK campaign. And you can find out more information about the Trust at www.qpr.co.uk/community.
It really was a great touch, and hopefully Justin and his team can get back to their amazing work at some point in the near future.
Now, turning our attention to results on the pitch, and it was a great win for Rangers last Tuesday as they fought out a well-earned 1-0 victory over Wycombe Wanderers at the Kai and Prince Foundation Stadium.
A good win indeed. But what goes into producing what the content the fans see on a match day? Well, social media manager Andy Watkins gave us an insight to that last Tuesday, and he told us exactly what a match day looks like for him.
Hi, I'm Andy Watkins and I'm the social media manager at QPR. Tonight I'm at the Kai and Prince Foundation Stadium as we take on Wycombe Wanderers in the Sky Bet Championship. Now, match days have obviously sounded and looked very different this season because of COVID-19, which has meant it's even more important to make the fans feel as close to the action as possible, which we try to do through our coverage on social media. I'll be talking you through what my job looks like on a match day and some of the things that happen behind the scenes as we get ready for a busy night and hopefully a winning night in W12. So one of the first things I do on arrival at the stadium, having set the scene on social media, is to have a chat with our club ambassador and QPR legend, Andy Sinton. Since is also our co-commentator on QPR Plus, the stream where QPR fans all around the world can watch our games home and away all season. And since, having played for England and various other clubs at the very top of the English game, is obviously super knowledgeable about the game, super passionate about the R's, so it's always great to get his insight a couple of hours before kickoff.
But it's about us. If we perform like we did Saturday, if we perform for the majority of time as we have done since the turn of the year, as I say, I'd like to say we'll go on and get another 3 points, but we're going to have to earn it. We're going to have to work really, really hard for it, and it's not going to be easy. But yeah, back in the boys. Come on, you arse.
Well, it's 5:45 p.m. and that means it's time for the all-important team news. The team sheets have just been exchanged pitch side between the two managers, and now I've got a short window to type those up into our team news graphics. It's always one of the most popular posts we'll put out on a match day, with fans understandably eager to see who's in the team, who's not in the team, etc., and whether we've made any changes from our last game, which in this case, unsurprisingly, we haven't. It's the same 11 from Saturday's impressive win at Bristol City, so it's just a case of me making sure I've got the right team on the graphics, making sure I've not missed anyone out, and making sure I've spelled everybody's name correctly. So I'll reread it several times to make sure I'm confident I've done that before posting them out an hour before kickoff. We'll also put these into team sheets for the media outside, which certainly come in very handy for those reporting, be it for online, newspapers, or on the radio. And once we've done that, we can then start getting ready for the game itself. There's 5 minutes to 7, just outside the tunnel, waiting for the teams to head out, which I'll film for our Instagram story. And then it's a case of sprinting through the tunnel, up the stairs, and trying to get back in position in the press box, ready for kickoff. It's half-time here, and it's QPR 1, Wycombe 0. Ilias Chair giving us the lead against the Chair boys. Now it's a 10-minute breather. Crop some pictures of Ilias celebrating, putting them through social media. Grab a hot coffee, much needed on a night like tonight, and then it's back out for the second half. But it's finished here 1-0, another 3 points, back-to-back wins after the win at Bristol City on Saturday. I'm out of breath after pegging it down to the tunnel to get some post-match videos of the boys, who understandably look absolutely knackered after that one. Now it's a case of heading back upstairs, putting out some post-match reaction, speaking to the manager, speaking to the players, and then we go from there.
It was tough, but I think you've got to be very, very careful of playing the opposing team's game. And I thought in the first half we moved the ball very, very well, got into that final third, and we must be more ruthless. We got the goal, but it's the second goal, as you saw on Saturday, which can really hurt teams. And we were guilty of not being clinical in the final third. And Gareth's teams are always going to work tirelessly, put the ball in the box. They're very, very good at what they do, good physicality. And we made it a little bit difficult for ourselves. But these are the games which are easily lost. They're scrappy, dangerous games against opponents who are fighting for their lives. It's a big 3 points tonight.
Well, it's just gone 11 o'clock, just about to leave the office. Match day just about wrapped up. It's a late finish. They always are, these midweek games, but you get used to them, and you certainly don't mind after a win, which was the most important thing tonight. Fair to say it wasn't the prettiest of wins, but it wasn't going to be easy against a Wycombe team fighting for their lives at the bottom. But we hung in, got the 3 points, which take us into the top half of the table. So the players are happy. The manager's happy. We've just put out his post-match reaction on social media, as well as a nice video message from the match winner, Ilias Chair, which wraps things up very nicely. So social media is a good place to be tonight, which makes my life and my job much easier. So I can head home happy now. Good day at the office, 3 points in the bag, and I hope you've enjoyed a slight glimpse of what life is like behind the scenes on a match day at QPR.
Thank you to Andy for a fascinating insight into the work that goes into a match day to keep us, the fans, engaged and up to date. And I'll tell you what, it sounds really great being the social media manager.
Fantastic stuff. And of course, a massive 3 points for the R's. Back-to-back wins. Heading into the last section of today's episode, we've got two under-23 players joining us to see how much they know about the R's in our quiz called The Inside Knowledge. Guys, why don't you introduce yourselves?
My name's Franklin Domi. I'm a left back.
My name's Tom Middlehurst, goalkeeper.
And just before we start, remember, you can play along at home and let's see how well you do. So, question 1. What year was QPR founded?
Tom. 1882.
He got that on his kit. That's.
Great answer, Tom. Great idea looking down at your badge for the answer. That is 1-0.
Next up, who scored the winning goal against Derby County in the 2014 playoff final for QPR?
Tom. Bobby Zamora.
The answer is, of course, the one and only Bobby Zamora. Another great answer there, Tom. 2-0 early doors. Don't worry, Franklin. There's still time for you to get back into it.
So, lads, who has been QPR's top goal scorer since the year 2010?
Franklin.
Charlie Austin.
And the answer? Yep, Charlie Austin. Franklin with a great answer there to pull back a point and make it 2-1.
Right, on to question 4. And it's how many goals did QPR score in the Championship overall last season? And the closest out of the two of you will get a point.
32.
I'm going to say 40.
It's going to be higher.
No, I'll go for final answer. I'll go for like 53.
I'd go 45.
The answer is in fact 67. So Tom is closest, and that takes him to a 3-1 lead. A little bit low there, Franklin. The guys didn't get it spot on, but how did you do at home?
Now let's go to question number 5. Let's see who gets this one. Who is QPR's current number 10?
Tom. Ilias.
Yeah, Tom again. Elias Chair, what an answer. That makes it 4-1. He's running away with it, mate. Speaking of Elias Chair, great to see him getting the winner against Wycombe on Tuesday.
On to question 6, and it's which former QPR Academy graduate currently plays for Manchester City?
Franklin.
Sterling.
The answer is, of course, Raheem Sterling. Great stuff, Franklin. A point back to make it 4-2. And what a player he is now, by the way.
Question number 7. QPR played Wickham on Tuesday. But what was the score when the teams played away at Adams Park earlier this season?
Franklin.
1-1.
Great answer again, Franklin. That's right, 1-1. Unfortunately, though, that is all that we have time for, and that does mean that Tom has taken it at 4-3. Great stuff from Franklin Domi and Tom Middlehurst there, and well done to Tom for having the inside knowledge.
A brilliant quiz. The lads were on it with their answers today. Franklin leaving it a little bit too late, but great to catch up with the lads nonetheless. Let us know how you got on with this episode's quiz at home.
Well, that's all from us. Thank you for joining us here at Inside Rangers. It's been great. Make sure you tune in to the next episode of Inside Rangers coming soon. And all that's left to say is from myself and Sam, it's goodbye from now, and come on you R's.